My name is Harper. Tap dance is the art form around which I've built my career. It's been a long road, over 30 years of dedication now, so I'm happy to have this opportunity to talk about this profession's ups and downs. I've been living in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, since 1991. So I moved here over 20 years ago. And I've worked a lot to develop awareness and appreciation for tap dance in this country. My family is international. My father is American, my mom is German. I was born in 1964 while they were living in Algeria. In 1965 they moved to Los Angeles, and then in 67 finally in Geneva, Switzerland, which is where I grew up. I took my first dancing classes in Geneva at age 15. I very soon discovered the power of dance and the way it resonated inside my body. So within a year, I was in the classroom every day, doing jazz, doing modern. Basically, I didn't do tap then because I wasn't aware of, I don't think they even had tap classes in Geneva then. In any case, encouraged by my teachers and by my colleagues, I decided to follow my dream of becoming a dancer, and I went to New York. That was in 1984. My parents were a bit worried at that time, but they supported me. I wasn't sure which form of dance I was interested in. I just wanted to dance. So I spent all day in the classroom doing ballet, doing jazz, doing theater dance, doing modern dance, doing voice lessons, and tap. Tap wasn't my focus then. It was sort of an extra. It was something I needed to do in the profession. It's not easy to be a tap dancer. I mean by that, it's not easy to live from it. For me, as for many of my colleagues, the solution came by multiplying myself, acting on numerous fronts at the same time. So basically, I teach, I dance, I choreograph, I produce, I manage. I had to develop skills such as building websites, editing videos, pictures, texts, music, etc. The sum of all that makes it possible. I have to travel, I have to invent events, I have to create stuff, write grants, etc. So I sometimes feel like one of those Chinese jugglers that has about 5 plates of twirling on different sticks all at the same time. And I can imagine it's difficult for a young, aspiring tap dancer to, it's a challenge, but that's the way. That's the way to make it possible, because there's, unfortunately, it's a difficult profession. But it's worth it. It's a lovely profession. As a performer, I've developed several shows and formats along the years, experimenting with numerous aspects of tap dance, some anchored more in tradition and some more experimental, both in style and concept. I like to mix languages. I like to follow the different roads that tap dance can offer, even if that means that sometimes you will end up in a dead-end street. By living in Brazil, I'm constantly inspired. The music, percussion, the dance are very rich, are very varied, and very present in everyday life. The energy level is impressive, and so is the appreciation actually for novelties, such as tap, since it was never here part of the mainstream. So Brazilian music and dance are very fertile grounds for tap dancers. I love to live and to develop my craft here. I can be very creative and experimental, which is what I'm most enjoying to do. challenge is to nationalize tap here in Brazil by giving it a Brazilian touch, which is very different than dancing in an American way on Brazilian music. The idea here is to find the right combination of tap, Brazilian dance movement, put that all in the same body and shake it and see what comes out. It's always a very interesting process, and that's what's so inspiring for me. I presently have several shows in different settings. I have a dance company called the Stephen Harper Dance Company, which is probably my most experimental venue. The company was created in 2001 and the cast has remained basically the same. We've been trying to develop a contemporary concept, breaking away from the traditional use of arms and the body in tap. We've been searching for a radically different use of space. I feel that contemporary dance has gone a lot further than tap dance in this aspect. For that, we've worked with in collaboration with Brazilian contemporary dance choreographer Mario Nascimento. I'm extremely pleased with the results. We did theater runs in about 10 cities in different states of Brazil, and we received state funding for a period of 3 years, which was a victory for tap dance companies, especially in Brazil, where tap has no history. I've also been working for many years with bass player Henri, another American expat here in Brazil. We have a show called Jungle Tap, which we've performed in various settings across Brazil, but also in Argentina and Europe since 1996. Bass virtuoso, and he's extremely versatile. While leaning strongly on Brazilian music, Jungle Tap evolves through jazz, played blues, soul, pop music, and just develops with a lot of humor. Strictly speaking, a tap show. Since we both sing and act and play percussion, so we have a lot of fun on stage, and it's been ongoing for over 16 years. I often work with my wife and partner, Adriana (SalomÃºɁO). We have this show that we put together a couple of years ago called Jimmy. It's an homage to Jimmy Slide, who was also a very strong influence on both of us here. as he was for so many tap dancers. Apart from my own shows, as a choreographer, I've had the chance to work in theater, musical theater, and television, and in the famous Rio de Janeiro Carnival parade. The one I most enjoyed was a float, a huge moving float I choreographed for the Salomão YouTo Samba School parade in 2011. It involved 40 tap dancers. Carnival is the main popular cultural happening in Brazil. The whole country basically stops for several days to celebrate life and music and dance and happiness and creativity and the human spirit. The Carnival parade is basically a competition between samba schools, which are not really schools, they're more like neighborhood associations. Each one organizes a parade around a chosen theme. And each school's parade features approximately 4,000 participants. They are organized in what they call alas, which are like blocks or waves of people, and richly costumed and parading on the ground. Huge floats make up the parade, and they're usually studded with celebrities, TV, sports, music stars, beautiful women, and expensive feathered costumes, etc. So altogether, the parade involves tens of thousands of people. It's a mega show. But our float was mic'd, and we had an independent sound system, so we could be heard, the tap dance could be heard in parallel to the drum section as we passed by. It was quite an experience, and I have a few images. I organize yearly the Tap in Rio festival with my wife, Adriana. It's an event we started in 2002, and it's now in its 12th edition. It takes place during the last week of January, at the height of the Brazilian summer. It runs through 5 days of workshops and master classes in tap, in rhythm studies, body percussion, Lindy Hop, Brazilian dance, improvisation, and other subjects of interest to tap dancers. There's also an evening of performances, the Tap Challenge, which is a choreographed solo competition. There's a battle, a jam session, there are tap talks, video showings, etc. The festival centers on the Brazilian tap scene, aspiring to boost local interest for tap, raise awareness, and stimulate cooperation between Brazilian professionals and students. The idea goes that if tap dance is to grow in Brazil, we have to do it here, and we have to do it together. We're proud to say that Tap in Rio became a central event in the Brazilian tap dancers' calendar. So along the years, I've been able to carry on with my profession. The tap dance world is a place in which I find nice people, generous, creative, and fun. It has to be fun. It has to be fun because otherwise it's not worth all the work. And tap dance is great. I want to be a part of it.